Mani is founder and MD of Justdial, a strong visionary and an experienced management professional. He revolutionized the process of searching for information by allowing people to pick up the telephone and call for instant access to a huge database of information. Today, Justdial is a household name, a service that people swear by, a service that people use by reflex action. It makes him immensely happy that he's running an enterprise which, other than being a financially very rewarding, touches the lives of millions of human beings around the world. And I can say it around the world because Mani is no more in India. Justdial is also in US now. In fact, Justdial has gone international by launching its services in North America. So without me taking much, let's hear Justdial's story from none other than Mr. Mani. Mr. Mani.
First, let me thank Sumit and Ffreedom Financial because I always forget to thank people. And they said only 15 minutes and I walk up. Yeah. I was asked to speak about dream, and Sumit said we have this, you have to speak about dream money. I said, Sumit, my dear, I don't sleep much. You say I'm the guy who's going to speak about dream. I think I have to put this on a bit. यार मैं तो बहुत कम सोता हूँ कि you want me to speak about dreams. He said, no यार वो dream नहीं है. You have to speak about your dream Justdial. I said, fine, I'll do that. Try to do my best. I want to say that I interpret dream as a deep driving desire. This is not a dream you see when you sleep. This is a dream you see when you are awake. I want to share with you my journey towards my dream, because I'm still, the journey is on. And the journey is incomplete without a brief background about from where I started and how we could do whatever we did. My life starts from city of Calcutta. You spoke about Bhutan. Happiness in Bhutan. City of Calcutta is known for city of joy. We grew up there with barely any wants, and we were very happy people. And my father's job took us to Delhi in 1984. So when we moved to Delhi, it was a cultural shock, because in Calcutta nobody bothered about what you own and what you possess and blah blah, what you wore. In Delhi, it was the other way around, because the first friend I made asked me this question, I can never forget even now. He said, how many shoes you have? I said, well, I didn't answer the question. He said, I have 3. He said, I have brown, black and grey. Till then, I thought a pair of shoes was good enough for a human being. The more the time I spent in Delhi, I realized that Delhi is very different, but very interesting. If I'm an entrepreneur today, I give credit to Delhi. You will find average Delhiites extremely enterprising. Anyway, so when I went to Delhi, I lost all my friends in Kolkata, so what to do best? My folks said, like a good IIA boy, you must study well, go and pursue a chartered accountancy, and then find a good job. So I was doing my graduation, and simultaneously I started studying for CA entrance. I don't know how many chartered accountants a year. In those days there used to be a CA entrance which you could pursue with graduation. And since I had no friends, so I cleared with flying club colors, and I had to start my articleship for chartered accountants. Now begins my life where everything happens only for 2 years. In 2 years things change. I lose my way. So I took up a job, I took up chartered accountancy, and this was in 1985, and by 1987 I dropped out of CA because I had to add to my family income, because my father wanted me to, because he was losing jobs and he didn't have a proper job, so he said, being the eldest son, you've got to help us out. So I joined a directory company Mahanagar Telephone Nigam, for the first time I'd come up with the yellow pages, so they were recruiting people, they engaged some American companies to initiate the concept in India. I was one of the first few people to be recruited. So I worked in the directory company as a salesperson. So while working there as a salesperson, one customer I met, young fellow, a Marwadi gentleman, 2-3 years younger to me, he liked me a lot. He said, you have something in you that I want to work with you. He said, Mani, yaar, kuch ideas sochte. So we used to sit and talk about ideas. I was more keen on his business, how I can get his check and get away. But this guy would insist that we discuss ideas. The more time I spent with him, finally he gave me a check. So while discussing ideas, he said, Mani, why not do this on phone? I must give credit to him because it was his idea to do it on phone. I said, it's a brilliant idea. And I took a sheet of paper and I wrote 20 steps how we can do it on phone. That guy was super excited. Now, I'm from a family, for 100 generations in our family, nobody has been an entrepreneur. And if I say I'm going to do business, I'll be kicked out of the house. So now this gentleman keeps calling me up every day at work, and I keep avoiding his calls. My friends started observing, yaar, tu kuch paise waise diya kya? Usse, why are you avoiding his calls? So there was a good Punjabi friend of mine, who was very like dashing, pushy guy. I confided to him, yaar, aise nahi hai, we spoke about this idea, now he wants to start this idea. Puri pagal hai kya tu? Chal, main bhi chalta hu. Let's get started. Ye tu best hai, why do a job? Then in August '89, we started a company called Ask Me. Now for 2 months, I didn't tell my family that I've quit the job. I used to go out of the house exactly at 9 o'clock. They would believe that I'm still doing the same job. I didn't have the courage to tell them. But slowly we had some traction, things were happening, and then I finally announced to my family that I've started this new company with 2 other friends, and it's called Ask Me. My dad was very concerned because my contribution to the family income was very critical at that time. And we have one patriarch, kind of an uncle, to whom everything goes to. So once on his visit, my dad said, this guy has done a very reckless decision of starting something on his own. Very proudly, I tried to show my uncle a brochure of Ask Me, and he generally threw it out of the window and he said, you're a responsible fellow, you don't know what, you're going to find a job tomorrow, and that's it. I said, forget it. Now I'm not going to look for support from family, and friends hardly understood these kind of concepts. Initially, we were very well accepted and momentum was fantastic. We started from Delhi, then we came to Mumbai, and it all happened so soon that everybody said, hey, it's a brilliant idea. And things worked very fast for us, and we were very young. You know, I was hardly just out of college and a couple of years of work experience. The others were also not that experienced. So we went berserk, we spread ourselves too thin. And also, if you remember, those were days of bundle commissions, economic downturn, India was in a real mess. And there was no capital, there was nobody willing to invest money in such idea-based businesses. And we were victims of economic downturn and also of many mistakes and foolishness that we did, that we spread ourselves too thin, and our business was like almost coming to an end. I felt very guilty because it was my idea. I used to push various strategies and things like that. I went to my senior partner and told him, hey, I'm feeling bad. Why don't you do one thing? Here is my share. I give it to you for free. And you try and leverage, try and take some investor from your family or whatsoever and try to run the business. Of course, I went back. I was a bit sad, man. I said, I could have made it successful. One mistake we did was we were 3 people running one business, 3 different ideas, and most of the time the ideas were not matching. So I would always look at how to build an enduring, long-lasting business which can be even passed on for generations. But they would think differently. Anyways, We were different people, so I said fine. So my partner was so overwhelmed, he said, oh, this is like one of the best things that you could do for me. And I'm going to gift you 10,000 rupees a month till the time you say, boss, bus, band kar, I don't need it anymore. In those days, I'm talking about 1991, and yes, 10,000 was a lot of money. I said, okay, if I'm going to get something, fine. If you don't get it, also fine. You won't believe it. I went back home. I practically had zero bank balance. There was a very sad incident in our family. As I started my business and my father was very unhappy, went about telling people and all that. There was this wonderful article about me in Business World in 1990, January issue of Business World. Then he suddenly felt my son is doing something great and he was very proud. He went around showing it to all family and friends, and he was a very happy man because everybody said your son is doing such a great thing. Just 15 days later he died. Now, being the eldest son, I had 3 other siblings and my mother. In those days there was no financial planning. There was definitely no Ffreedom Financial. My father didn't do any insurance. Unfortunately, keep losing his jobs. So we were left with no money. In fact, the day I had to take over the family, there was zero money, there was zero insurance, and so I became the default breadwinner for the family. So I had to take care of paying the house rents to things like that. I'm just trying to tell you this because if I can do it, I can bet anybody out here or anybody else in the world can definitely do it. So then the debacle of Ask Me was so bad that I didn't have any money. I was probably not even paying my bills on time in my responsibilities. But somehow I took that decision because I had to be happy. I had to come out of a situation which was making me like absolutely breathless. Somehow, another friend drops in. He says, Mani, maine suna yaar tu Justdail chhod diya. You think of some idea, I have one guy who's got money, we'll start a business. Now for me at that moment of time, is survival. How do I take care of my family and my bills? So I said, fine, boss, kal aaja, kal tak main ek idea soch lunga. And so happened, the guy came next day. I said, boss, I have an idea where very less capital is required. We think about something called a wedding planner, a marriage shopping directory, which will have write-ups about weddings and all that, and we'll start one. The friend liked it, the partner liked it, and we started that business. This was definitely a marriage of convenience for me because no meeting of minds, but ghar to chalana hai, so I got into this. We got one of the best newspapers in Delhi, Hindustan Times, to partner with us, and it was a good success.